evening, and welcome to the Franklin Central High School Senior Awards Program. I'm Jenny Matasowski, and I am proud to serve as principal of Franklin Central High School. Let us start by acknowledging the elephant in the room. In August, no one would have fathomed that March would be interrupted midstream, April restricted to homebound, and May wrap-up condensed to just a couple of weeks. And yet, here we are, still celebrating achievements and lasts, but in a very, very different way. That being said, we are, in fact, here to celebrate you, the Flashes class of 2020, and your academic achievements throughout not only this year, but all 4 years of your high school experience. Tonight, we will honor those receiving community scholarships, departmental awards, the Governor's Work Ethic Certificate, perfect attendance, and our Indiana Academic All-Star. All of this leads up to the top 10 students in the senior class recognizing their selected influential educators and the formal announcement of the salutatorian and valedictorian of the class. So sit back, relax, and celebrate your accomplishments with your families. No tie, dress shoes, or nerves required. Congratulations, and let's begin the celebration.
We hope you've enjoyed watching the slides of our seniors at Franklin Central and all of the scholarships they've earned. Our seniors have worked very hard this year, and for the last 4 years, they've earned every bit of what you've seen. At this time, we'd like to move on and announce some specific scholarships that are unique to Franklin Central. the Jack G. Burton Memorial Scholarship, Mackenzie Gibbons. The Doorway to College Scholarship, Naya McCoots. The Kiwanis Foundation Scholarship, Hannah Seifers. The John McCormick Max Strong Memorial Scholarship, Rebecca Grossman. The W.A. McKinsey Memorial Scholarship, Rebecca Grossman. The Bill and Charlene Mellencamp Scholarship from the Kiwanis Club of Greenwood, Brandon Kinnick. The Jack Peak Memorial Scholarship, Brandon Kinnick. The Josephine Plummer Memorial Scholarship, Lydia Laker. The Derek Smith Memorial Scholarship for Performing Arts, Samantha Margison. The South Creek Elementary Scholarship, Tyler Monday. The Merrill Sutherland Memorial Scholarship, Madeline Searcy. Department Awards. The Business Department Student of the Year, Tyler Monday. Outstanding Engineering Student, Sarah Birch. Outstanding Engineering Student, Thomas Mills. Outstanding Engineering Student, Ian Feist. Outstanding Engineering Student, Zachary Reidenbach. Outstanding Engineering Student, Peyton Graff. Outstanding Technology Student, Mason Clarke. Outstanding Technology Student, Joshua Lagler. Family and Consumer Sciences Excellence, Isabel Hall. Family and Consumer Sciences Excellence, Andrew Presley. The Leanne B. Schemenauer Sunshine Award, Lydia Laker. The Julie Mosely Leadership Award, Cody Larson. Jim Zock Award for Reading, Emma Kanak. Jim Zock Award for Reading, Kaylee Thomas. Jim Zock Award for Writing, Ari Childs. Jim Zock Award for Writing, Connor Grant. Steve George Award for Public Speaking, Keon Bybee. Jim Johnson Award for Public Speaking, Zoe Croxford. The Glen Estes Award for Excellence in Math, Ann Gowan, and Joseph Collins. Outstanding Lifeguard, Logan Henderson. Outstanding Lifeguard, David Poole. Outstanding Lifeguard, Madison Simpson. Outstanding PE Student, Emma Heron. Outstanding PE Student, Nathan Boomershine. Outstanding Science Student, Joseph Collins. Outstanding Science Student, Ann Gowan. Outstanding Science Student, Anya Hardwick. Bill Clarke Social Studies Award, Connor Grant. Special Education Most Improved Student, Caleb Napper. Special Education Outstanding Attitude, Hannah Steele. Special Education Driven to Succeed, Whitney Durchie. Special Education Driven to Succeed, Ivy Rogers. Special Education Perseverance Award, Elena Watkins. Special Education Excellent Effort, Hannah Humphreys. Special Education Excellent Effort, Brooklyn Raleigh. Outstanding Senior Artist, Keon Bybee. Outstanding Senior Artist, Zoe Croxford. Outstanding Senior Artist, Emily Brashear. Outstanding Senior Artist, Ethan Iverson. Outstanding Senior Artist, Stephanie Simpson. Outstanding Senior Artist, Delaney Grady. The recipients of the Governor's Work Ethic Certificates: Michaela Brenton, Abby Hirschberger, Brandon Kinnick, Sarah Miller, Thomas Mills, Alan Malenga. Perfect attendance for 4 years: Brody Archer, Evan Douglas. Indiana Academic All-Star, Tara Collia. At this time, we would like to present letters from the top 10 students in the class of 2020, addressed to influential leaders in Franklin Township. We will begin with the 2 students who rank number 9 in the class of 2020, Cade Whitesell and Connor Grant.
To the great Dr. Schonkweiler, you are a part of what made these last 3 years of high school unforgettable. Schonk, you are one of the funniest people I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. You don't even try to be funny most of the time, and that's what makes you awesome. I will really miss your insane comments because they always made my day a little brighter. One thing I've learned about you is that you're a very caring person. I've seen how obsessed you are with your children. Honestly, I've seen more pictures of Charlie than I've seen of myself, and you always stay home whenever one of your children is sick. I'm sure that can be very stressful since you've already started going gray. Oh wait, I forgot. That happened when you were 17. I appreciate that you take your caring aspects and apply them to your students. It's also comforting to feel support from somebody who technically doesn't have to support me like my family does. You are a prime example of how a teacher can do more than just teach the content, but can also care about their students and want them to succeed. I hope that in college I can find a professor that supports me even when I'm being silly, like you've done. I will always appreciate being able to start every day, except Fridays, with a friendly face. It was so much better to walk into AP Music Theory every morning junior year, and especially the band office every morning this year, than having to go to beginner choir and cry. Being your student and your TA was always the highlight of my day, and I'll miss that a lot. Thank you for being the most amazing teacher I've always wanted. Sincerely, your favorite student, Cade Whitesell.
Dear Mrs. Atkinson, wow, what a year it has been. You'd probably never guess it, but I came into this class extremely nervous. I remember you explaining to the class that it may take a while for us to get adjusted to the expectations of the course, but you also assured us that we would be fine, and that is all I needed to hear. Knowing that you have this blind confidence in a group of 17 and 18-year-old kids amazes me, but in all honesty, it should not. It is just one of a million examples I could point to if someone needed an example of your character. I did not think I'd be writing this letter to you earlier in the year, but things changed. As the first semester waned on, I increasingly became more confident in myself when it came to your class. Without even realizing it, you actually made me interested, and in doing so, you both indirectly and directly helped me blossom into a better writer, thinker, speaker, leader, and person. Unlike any teacher before, you began to notice that I was not really me, and that I really hadn't ever been my true self in the classroom. Any student in this school would be lucky to have you. Mrs. Atkinson, if there's anything that I can take away from you and your class, it is the idea that one person has enough power and energy to create positive change on everything in their path. And that is what you do, whether you recognize it or not. You have given me one of the most, if not the most, memorable learning experiences in my life. I really wish the end of the year was not panning out like this, but these things happen. At the end of the day, I really want you to know how thankful I am for everything you have done for me, all the way from asking me how I am doing to giving me a 5 on an essay partially to get me to work harder and write better. Mrs. Atkinson, you have given me the experience of seeing myself change for the better, and I can never repay you for that.
Next we have number 8, Emily Robinson.
Dear Mrs. Napsker, throughout my entire education, no one class stands out to me more than yours does. 8th grade year was the first time I had ever been excited to go to English class. There was never a day where the thought of your class didn't make me happy. Although I wasn't particularly fond of word within a word or the dreaded springboard, you always found a way to make the class interesting. You and the nerdlets hold a special place in my heart and always will. I'll never forget our skits where I spilled water on Anya, or Joey dressed up in the Pooh Bear costume, or when Gabe preached the ideas of Gabeolia. And who could forget our reach competition at the end of the year when we made a paper yellow brick road and volcano, painted our faces like Lion King characters, and went searching for spicy chicken nuggets. We were weird kids when I look back on that. You made middle school quite a bit more bearable, and I can't thank you enough for making my least favorite subject into my favorite class of the day. You made it so our more challenging material to learn was a little easier and way more fun to learn. I think I can speak for all the other nerdlets when I say that we love and miss you so much. Thank you so much for your help getting me where I am today. Sincerely, Emily Robinson.
Number 7 in the class of 2020, Hannah Seifers. Dear Ms. Campbell, you have been such a huge part of my high school career. From my first AP class to being president of the Key Club with you as the sponsor. You have been by my side every step of the way. I always knew it didn't matter what I needed. I could always come to you. Even if you had no stake in the situation, if I was in, you were in. Even the first semester of my senior year, when I completely and utterly overcommitted myself, and I was quite literally being pulled in a million directions, you always reminded me that I was capable of doing it all, that I was a leader, and I could get it done, especially with the help you never hesitated to provide me. Your room has always been a safe place for me. I knew my ideas would be taken into consideration no matter what. And if I had something to rant or complain about, as high schoolers often do, I could always come to you just to get it off my chest, and you would come back to me with words of wisdom or advice, or even just understanding. Sometimes all you can ask is for someone to listen, and I always knew you would. I've had the privilege of sharing a lot of fun times with you, planning service projects and making the world a brighter place with Key Club, jamming to Hamilton while doing homework, and learning from you about how to be a gracious leader and a strong woman. As I write this letter, I have realized that you have been one of the driving forces behind my success at Franklin Central. You've always pushed me to be my best, and I can't tell you how thankful I am to have you in my life. I sincerely hope our friendship can continue, and you can continue to watch me grow. With every thanks imaginable, Mia Seifers. Next we have number 6, Grant Templin.
To Mr. Paul Osterman. Every day that I walked into Mr. Osterman's class, I was greeted with positivity. He always went out of his way to do something that would brighten your day. He had several classroom traditions that showcased this. Mr. Osterman made an effort to acknowledge the birthdays of every student in the class. That was one of the best parts of being in his class. You could tell that he truly did care about everyone. When it came to teaching, he was willing to go the extra mile, hosting study sessions for each test throughout the year, allowing us to take practice tests during our study hall periods, and engaging in creative and interactive teaching. Mr. Osterman also showed us that he cared about us on a personal level. This is a mindset that everyone should get behind, and seeing it firsthand from an educator cements the important idea in the minds of many. I'll always be thankful for how he took to group learning. During many assignments and labs, we were encouraged to work together to understand the material. The group work we did helped us build team skills and encouraged us to hold ourselves accountable for the good of our group. I always felt ready for a test by the time it came, with the main reasons being I enjoyed how the learning was accomplished in his class. Little things like leaving a positive comment on our tests, giving out random compliments, asking people about the activities or extracurriculars they had going on, things that weren't really expected of him, but he did anyway because he genuinely wanted to get to know us better, showed the character he has and the kindness in him. He made a positive difference in so many of my days. In 1,000 little ways, he went above and beyond. Little things like this really help add up over time. Anytime that Mr. Osterman could, he would see that if we were okay and ask if there was anything he could do. There was never any doubt that he cares. Being in Mr. Osterman's class taught me a lot about how I should treat other people and how I should conduct myself. I learned to listen and consider others' input. I learned to go out of my way to be positive. and I learned that putting my mind to it is all that it takes. Thank you for being a great teacher, role model, and positive influence in so many people's lives. It was a blessing to be in your class this year.
Number 5, Courtney Cochran. To Mr. Finja. I chose you as my favorite teacher in high school because, honestly, AP Gov was one of the most enjoyable classes I ever had. On the first day of your class, you set a standard of being able to openly share our opinions without judgment, and said we shouldn't have to preface our opinions with an apology. That's when I knew I could finally speak my opinion and not feel like I was being judged. You were also one of my teachers who did not just have a surface-level knowledge of their subject, but was actually extremely knowledgeable and really cared about informing people about government. I was always inspired by your passion for teaching and your compassion and realness you have with your students. You were understanding, flexible, and personable. You were more than just a teacher. You were a friend. And I think that's what's made AP Gov stand out more than any other class. I hope that this will show just some of my appreciation for you, and maybe I will run into you at Kroger again so I can thank you in person. I hope you and your family are safe, healthy, and making the most of the quarantine. Thank you for everything, Courtney Cochran. We have 2 students ranking number 3 in the class of 2020, Emma Kanak and Ann Gowan.
Dear Mr. Sokolowski, it's hard to find a class you love. We the People was that kind of class, and a big reason was that you were the teacher. Your "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the happiest place on earth" every day reminded me of your passion for teaching and made me excited to learn for the rest of the class. Thank you for making the school day a little more exciting. We the People and your teaching helped me realize the passion for learning I had, but had forgotten over the years. If you told me at the beginning of this school year that I would eventually face off with a philosophy professor in a discussion about the philosophical foundations of our nation, I would have told you you were crazy. But your amazing teaching and the confidence you instilled in my abilities gave me the opportunity to not only discuss, but argue with the philosophy professor. Thank you for helping me remember how fun it is to learn and for giving me the confidence in my abilities that I needed. The biggest impact you had on me actually came on the last day I had you as a teacher. After finishing our final, you gave us your advice for us as we move on to college and for the rest of our lives. You told us to find a job we love. All my life, expectations have been placed on me. Everyone expects me to succeed and be in a job as prestigious as a doctor or a lawyer, but that hasn't ever been my priority. My only goal has been to enjoy my job. You were one of the first people who automatically placed higher importance on happiness rather than salary or distinction, and for that I am very grateful. You gave me reassurance about my future because I knew that choosing a future I enjoyed would lead me to a life as happy and as influential as yours. I've always said it's easier to learn when a teacher is passionate about what they do, and you proved me right. Sincerely, Emma Kanak.
Dear Mrs. Dickerson, I want to start by saying thank you for the lasting impact that you have left on me. I still remember walking into your classroom first period on the first day of my sophomore year. I was still questioning my decision to take pre-AP chemistry. My worries quickly vanished. You knew how to make a hard class fun and entertaining. Whether it was the fun chemistry jokes or the crazy lab demos you would do, you taught me to love chemistry, and now I plan to continue that in college. You truly care about all of your students, and it's evident in all that you do. You took the time to make sure all of us understood what was happening in class and made me feel comfortable to ask questions if I didn't understand. This was previously very hard for me to do. Your impact goes on beyond the classroom, though. You showed us a teacher who loved her job and her students. Your love for teaching is inspirational, and I hope to love my future job in the same way. The thing that especially stood out to me was your commitment to your students after their time in your class. My friend group hung out in the hallway by your room, and every morning you stopped by with a bright smile on your face. You truly cared about our college decision process, what we were planning to major in, and even all the other silly things we would talk about. Your care for others is something that I aspire to have, and I want to genuinely thank you for being such a light in my high school career. Best, Annie Gowan. And the salutatorian for the class of 2020, Anya Hardwick. To Mrs. Baker, I don't think I can thank you enough for what you and your class did for me junior year, but I can try. Thank you for helping me dive deeper into a love that I didn't even know I had. Although I have always enjoyed exploring the sciences, your AP chemistry class helped me to know that chemistry is what I want to pursue in college. Not only was your class fascinating, but your love of chemistry truly inspired me. Thank you for being such an amazing person, both in and outside of the classroom. You were always someone I could go to for advice or just talk to about life. Thank you for being a teacher that truly wants to help their students. You tailor your class to include both lectures and hands-on practice. You include individual and partner work. This type of teaching allows students to figure out what works for them, and I greatly appreciate that. Thank you for preparing me. When I went to take the AP exam, I felt ready because you provided me with the tools necessary to study and helped me to know what to expect on the exam. Thank you for answering all of my questions. It seemed as if your knowledge was endless. But if by some rare chance you did not know the answer, I could always count on you to look into the topic and come back and explain it to me. Thank you for making your class enjoyable. Although AP Chem was stressful at times, you always made sure to boost the mood. Whether it was by making a joke about not forgetting about the lone pair or letting us make Christmas ornaments, I knew I could count on you to put the fun in fluorine, uranium, and nitrogen. With much gratitude and love, Anya Hardwick. And with great pride and excitement, we announce the valedictorian for the class of 2020, Tara Kalia.
Mr. Woodrow, I could go on for hours about why I was so fortunate to have a 100% chance of having you as my teacher, but that would go against your cardinal rule. SEAL Team 6, get in, get out. By the second day of class, you made it clear that you cared about your students' success and genuinely wanted all of us to understand calculus. I say second because on the first day, you taught the entire unit in about 40 minutes and told us that we were already behind schedule, which was a terrifying experience. Every single day in your class was a delight. With a Mountain Dew in one hand and a smartboard in the other, you walked in ready to teach and punctuate every other math problem with a wry joke or make fun of me for struggling to work a stapler, which only happened once, and that was one time too many. I never felt lost after that first day as you found funny anecdotes to relate calculus to. If there wasn't a good story to tell, then you figured something out. Particle motion sticks out in my mind as an especially creative example. I volunteered to help you demonstrate the concept. Little did I know that you would shove me around the room for 10 minutes while nonchalantly explaining why my velocity was positive or negative. You were a stern teacher, and you expected our very best, which pushed me to do better every day. However, you were also supportive and kind. You reassured me that I was both good at math and worthy of a 5 on the AP test. You let me drop into your room randomly to talk about college applications simply because I missed your class. If I hadn't met you, I don't know if I would have fallen in love with math or had the confidence to continue challenging myself. Sincerely, Tara Kalia. The entire faculty and staff of Franklin Central High School, the Franklin Township Community School Corporation, and school board would like to congratulate all of you on your tremendous academic accomplishments, while also commending you on your ability to adapt and persevere in these most unusual times. We are humbled by your achievements and overwhelmed by your success. As goes the senior class, so goes the school, and what a standard you have set. Thank you for joining us this evening. We are so excited that in just a few days, we will be celebrating commencement. Take care and stay safe. Good night.